Hi, James again from the 11 Plus Tutors. Today I'm going to talk about describing setting. I'm not going to describe how to write a story about a picture because that's going to be the subject matter of a future video. But describing setting is always going to be a major part of the writing in 11 Plus. A lot of kids get presented with an image, a picture in their exam and asked to write about it. This is where things start to go wrong generally. What kids will do, they'll be in a different setting, different context, and they'll start producing the same old thing they produce at school, which is bland sentences devoid of any skills. That's something we don't want. We go to great lengths to try and retrain children to good habits. So when we look at a setting, I always say to kids, think about the senses, what we can see, what we can taste, what we can touch, what we can feel, what we can hear, those things. What we don't want them to do is just list those. We want them mixed in with the writing. It definitely gives kids some content for their writing, and that's something they're struggling for often in the exam. I would say taste is always a difficult one, but you might be able to link it to smell. Smell and taste are often linked, like the taste of salt in the air at the seaside. You could even use it in a figurative sense, the taste that you could taste fear in the air. That's something that could be done. But it's definitely an opportunity to give lots of detailed description about the environment, about the setting. This brings links onto this, which is using good adverbs and adjectives there. So kids are quite good at adjectives, although they could always do more. And we don't really want sentences without them. Adverbs are something that kids do suffer from omitting in their writing, leaving out. The ly words describing doing words, that's always a big push. Different sentence types. So I've spoken about sentence gym before in a previous video. Please go back and check it. I won't focus on that here, but we must try and mix up our sentence types and not bore the poor old reader to death. I see so many pieces of writing where things start with the or the person's name, like Jeff, and it just starts with the subject at the beginning of a sentence, every single one. That's something we don't want. I always say to kids, variety is the spice of life. Here's a big one, I think, often neglected, emotions. Kids don't talk about them. If they do, they just talk about happy and sad. We need a whole plethora, a whole range of emotion words. But also, I think to elevate it to the next level, we need a mixture of emotions. Human beings are very rarely just one emotion. I could say when I looked across this landscape, I was fascinated, but also slightly fearful. You know, it could be that. We could have conflicting emotions. That shows the level of depth and maturity in writing, I believe, and that's quite an easy thing to achieve. I would definitely urge people to do that. Figurative language, we focused quite a bit on this recently in my own tuition. This is going to be the deal breaker. Similes, metaphors, personification. Simile, the clouds were like balls of cotton wool. Metaphor, the clouds were balls of cotton wool. Remember, you've got to be brave. And you've got to be creative with these. And they've got to make sense to the reader. Personification, talking about a thing as if it's a person. The sun wrapped its loving rays around us. Now the sun can't experience love. It's a projection for us. But the reader understands that. And what we're doing is personifying it. We're giving the sun human qualities. And again, that brings a piece of writing to life. It sounds easy saying produce this stuff and you'll get an 11 plus pass piece of writing, and that's probably true. If you followed this stuff you would, but we have to go to great lengths to retrain kids out of bad habits that they've often developed at school and been allowed to get away with. This is the standard that we're looking for. I hope you found it interesting. I've enjoyed giving this video and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.